We're joined today by Blake Hylands, CEO of Lithium Ionic. Blake, great to have you. Tell us about Lithium Ionic. Elevator pitch. What do you guys do?
Yeah.
Why are you different?
Thanks so much. I'll take you on the longest elevator ride ever. No, it's a hard rock Brazilian spodumene, high grade, low cost to capital, low cost to get into production project. Right next door to Sigma Lithium, which is now a $3.5–4 billion project. Through two resources already, over 30 million tons, 1.4%, very high grade. Going into a feasibility next month and another resource update, so I think we'll be over 50 million tons. And we've already submitted for our construction license, which we should have back by summer of this year as well. So we'd be in a position to actually build this project starting this year. So from formation as a company and discovery of an asset in the middle of 2022 to starting to build the asset in 2024.
We'll talk a little bit even about the drilling results you've had, or like the drilling program you just had over the past year. If you want to expand a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, look, we've been extremely successful with the drill bit. We have an unbelievable technical team on the ground. All live in Brazil. Our office is really in Brazil. Belo. I'm one of the only Canadians actually kind of working on the project. We're listed in Canada, and that's why. But it's an unbelievable geological jurisdiction. There's really only a couple other places like it in the world. And so I give the technical team a ton of credit for being able to find these things, define these things quickly, and be able to show huge potential. But, if it's not there, it's not there. It has to be there. And we have one of the most important pegmatite districts in the world. And we have the good fortune of being able to drill that every day. So lots of really interesting results coming out of Bandera, lots of interesting results coming out of Salinas, all near surface, all still open. So very, very exciting last year. And I think it will be again this year too.
Amazing. If we bring it back a bit, what was your journey into mining, and how did you start?
Yeah, well, I'm a geologist by background, so it's no option, I guess. That's all you can do. So exploration side in the field all the time, and then over the last sort of better part of 8 to 10 years, been working on the corporate development side as well as exploration side. Ran the exploration for a gold company, moved to president there, raised a lot of money with my business partner Justin Reed at the time, and then really looked to do something on my own and step out and kind of take a project from infancy to production. And this opportunity came along. I think it's rare to find an opportunity in a world-class jurisdiction for a commodity. It's kind of like being in the Abitibi or a really high-grade gold environment 100 years ago and having the chance to be on board with something like that. So when it came along, as a technical person and obviously wanting to run the company, I couldn't turn down that opportunity.
One last question before we take off. We can address the elephant in the room a little bit. Lithium prices have been going down a little bit, or a lot. They've been going down. So how does that, first off, what do you think has caused that? Obviously, there's many things that caused it to go down. What's the main reason for the drop of the lithium prices?
Well, look, I think the driving force that I always point to is, a surplus to the conversion facilities in China, right? So this is an industry that's really controlled by the Chinese market because that's where the material is converted at this point until it expands. And I think there's always this mistake that there's a surplus to demand, but there's not a surplus to demand. There's a surplus to being able to actually convert material. And so I think that can happen. That material will be processed, and as that kind of gets chewed through, some of those stockpiles get chewed through, we're going to see price start to climb back up because demand continues to grow for this material. Spodumene is going to be a key focus. Why projects like this I think are so important, and we're going to see price kind of climb back up. We've already seen it sort of stabilize, and I think we're going to see it go back up. And that being said, and I always like to kind of harp on this, we've never promoted a project that only works in, high price lithium markets. This is a low cost to produce, low cost to build project, high margin, high profitability, small footprint that can be extremely profitable. Our PEA shows up 1.6 billion post-tax NPV, right? $230 million to build it. So we don't need $9,000 spodumene. And I think we're in a healthier environment in a $2,000 or $3,000 spodumene environment, which is where I think we get to. And a project like this will sing.
Right, that's great. And in terms of processing, it's mostly done in China. Is there a way to process it in Canada? Is there some plants or in North America that are getting built or getting thought of? Is that a thing in the future, you think?
There are so many that are talking about building these facilities, and it really is a response to the Chinese market and them kind of controlling the industrial economy by having that and having such a head start. The trouble is, and I'm always honest with this, is that building these facilities in Canada and the US takes time, a lot of consultation work. There's a lot of cost to it. You need the right partners, the right engineering, the right expertise, and it's just going to take time. You see a group like Tesla that's building a gigafactory in Texas. I mean, that's the kind of thing, the integrated model that's going to, I think, help drive the North American side or the Western side, and Europe doing the same. But for now, we have the market we have, but that will shift over time.
Right. And before we close off this interview, where is Lithium Ionic trade? Where can people find it and buy it?
We trade on the venture, the TSXV. We're LTH, and that's where we trade. We have an OTC listing as well, but primarily that Canadian listing is where to find us.
Amazing. Is there anything last you'd like to say before we close this interview?
Well, look, I think that you hit on a key component of where the macro of our space is, which is that lithium price pulled back, and we've seen the prices in projects like this pull back with it. But we have an analog next door in Sigma Lithium that shows how you go from 100 or 200 million to 4 billion just by doing the work, and a blueprint on how to do that work.
Yeah.
And so that's the value gap we're trying to close. So when I see our price pull back here now, I'm staying positive when we're talking to investors to say, this is your buy opportunity. This is the chance to jump into this. These projects are going to get built. They're going to recognize value. Now is the time to get in.
Yeah, I mean, mining is cyclical, right? And in those downturns, sometimes it's the time to buy, or even for companies to do new acquisitions, and that's kind of how it's done, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing. All right, well, good talking to you, Blake.
Hey, pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks.